Hello readers, I'm Amy and I'm your nonfiction feminist. I am here today with the TBR tag in celebration of my upcoming Backlist Book challenge next month. I will link that video down below. I hope you are as excited as I am. Doing this video a little bit differently today. For the TBR tag, there's a lot of questions on my TBR. I've got some TBR stuff on the top of my shelf, and my nonfiction TBR is on the desk over there. And right here is my pile of books for the Backlist Book Challenge, so I'm gonna be kind of all over the place, but I thought it'd be more fun if I didn't try to answer the questions before this video, like I usually do. So when I back away from the camera, you'll have a much better look at my bookshelves. Our first question that I'm going to try and answer here is a book on your TBR that everyone recommends to you. I don't have a lot of people recommending me books. I'm like the big reader in my life. So besides my husband recommending certain Stephen King books to me, I guess I'm going to have to go with Mistborn. I really love following Murphy Napier's videos, and she recommends Mistborn to everybody all the time. And this is also recommended by a friend of mine, and I have been telling him for months that I was going to read it, and this is actually on my Backlist Book Challenge TBR, which the official TBR will be coming out in a couple of weeks, whenever I get my library book for that challenge. So yes, I'm going to try me some fantasy. We'll see how this goes. I'm not a huge fantasy person, but I've heard good things. It sounds like one that I can get into pretty easily. Our next question: how many books are on your TBR shelf? This is gonna take me a minute. Okay, I counted, and besides on the shelves that I mentioned, there's also some TBR books that I don't put on my TBR shelf, like my classics, which are all kind of in one section, Stephen King, which is in his own section. So the books that I am planning on reading and that I physically have in this room right now, I counted 76. That's about as many books as I can read in a year. Which is another reason why I've got the Backlist Book Challenge coming up, so I can really just focus on my TBR. I'm also taking part in the Devour Your TBR Challenge. I will also link that below. It's on Goodreads, and it's focusing on really knocking out some of your TBR books. I've actually done pretty good with that this year. Next up, a book on your TBR that you are dying to read. There are so many, so being a mood reader, I'm going to go with the ones that I am most in the mood for at the moment. Be right back. I was wrong, it's not 76, it's 79. I had some horror books on another separate shelf. So, I read Ring in college after my husband read it for one of his Japanese classes. This is what the Ring horror movie is based off of. I only saw the first 5 minutes of the movie because it was too creepy for me, but I don't get how they got from point A to point B. Anyways, super excited for this as a reread, because I also got the next 2 books in the series. Awesome covers, right? So that's a horror I'm really excited for. I can't really pick just one. I'm in the mood for a lot of stuff lately. I'm in the mood for some Gloria Steinem, and what else? Oh, this is sitting on my shelf for this month. Maybe I'll get to it. A Vindication of the Rights of Women. Can you tell why I named my channel the Nonfiction Feminist? I'm in a mood this month. I've had some things happen, some people be upsetting. I'm really feeling like getting to the man. Uses of Enchantment, the Meaning and Importance of Fairy Tales. I've been looking forward to this one for a while. It's finally on my shelf, and yeah. and From Here to Eternity by Caitlin Doughty. Also, if you can't tell, I'm really in a nonfiction mood right now. I read Smoke Gets in Your Eyes, which is her kind of like memoir on being a crematory operator. This one is Traveling the World to Find the Good Death. If you haven't seen her videos yet, I will link her YouTube profile down below. She's pretty great. I also have some library books that I just got that I'm super excited for, so lots of books, lots of excitement. The excitement never ends. Hello, Floofy Butt. Sorry. My books were on my cat's tower, so I was kind of interrupting him there. Next up, a book on your TBR that you never plan on reading. This is an interesting question. I have unhauled some more books recently. I will post that as part of my summer unhaul probably next month. So I've gotten rid of all the books that I'm absolutely not ever going to read, except for some books on that top shelf, which I keep specifically for photography purposes. So another prompt for my Backlist Book Challenge is to pick the book on your TBR that you want to read the least, that you are looking forward to the least. That doesn't mean you're not going to read it. It just means it's not number one on your list, it's not the one you're most excited for. So that is actually on my reading list for next month. So not one that I'm never going to read, but one that I'm not super excited for. That kind of answers the question. And that is The Glass Room. This is some sort of World War II fiction. I tried to start it once and was like really kind of confused as to what was going on, but I'm going to give it a try again next month because I really like World War II stuff, and hopefully this will be interesting. Okay, an unpublished book on your TBR that you are excited for. I don't really put much on my list as far as unpublished. I don't really pay attention to stuff that hasn't been published yet. I like to look at what's already been published. The most recent unpublished book was the Book of Flora, and that's been published, and I have my review on the whole series of the Road to Nowhere trilogy. That's what it was. That was back in April, I think, that book was finally published. So I don't have unpublished books on my TBR list. It's just not something I really pay much attention to. A book on your TBR that you never... I think I wrote the same question twice. Next one. A book in your TBR strictly because of its beautiful cover. Again, I've gotten rid of a lot of those books that are like kind of meaningless on my TBR, but let me see what I can find for a beautiful book cover. Alright, I'm going to go with Paula Hawkins' second book, Into the Water. This book cover impressed me from the second this book came out. Not only does it have the words all kind of watered down and stuff being called into the water, and it's got like the beautiful bubbles and the colors that are blurry and everything, but the actual cover just, I mean, it doesn't feel like it's been wet, but it's just got this texture to it. It's almost, I don't know, kind of a rough, worn down kind of feel, but it's very cool. They really went extra with this cover. I didn't get it just because of the cover. I also got it because of the premise and because of the author, but cover was a big factor in this. This is gorgeous. This is effort. This is an A++ cover. Next question, a book that you recently added to your TBR. I'm going to go with most recently purchased. I'm also not counting my Goodreads books on this because that's like a whole other thing. Book recently added to TBR. I think one of the books that I've most recently purchased would be The Glass Castle. It's the last one that I remember buying anyways, by Jeanette Walls. Big name in the movie industry, and got the book because I like to read the book first. It's got some mental health stuff, which is right up my alley. So yeah, gonna go with The Glass Castle. Memoir. I'm hoping to get to it soon. At this point, I don't know if it's gonna happen this year. I can hold out hope, but I only read so much so fast. Then we have a book that's been on your TBR list the longest. Again, I think I'm going to go back to The Glass Room. This is one of the books that I've had the longest. I want to say some of my classics, but some of the classics that I got on my TBR were after I got The Glass Room. So yeah, we're gonna go with The Glass Room. We're gonna say that's been on there the longest. Is your TBR mostly print or ebook? That is, I have a lot of unread books on my Kindle, but I still want to say my physical TBR is the longest, mostly because I purchase more physical books, I read more physical books, so educated guess, I'm going to say printed is definitely the longest. I do have a Kindle. I have the Kindle app on my phone. I have the Kindle Fire that I got from my mother for graduating high school. Thank you, Mom. I just don't do a lot of ebooks. I did them in college because it's much cheaper to get your textbooks that way. But print has always just kind of been what I do. I've done more audiobooks recently, but even my audiobook list isn't nearly as long as my printed book list. And how do you keep track of your TBR pile? I have a good memory. I mean, I write down what I read during the year, but even if I don't remember everything that I've read in the last month, I can still point to every book on my bookshelves that I have not read. So that's kind of it for the TBR tag. Again, my video for the Backlist Book Challenge is linked down below. Please join. It's not a readathon, so you don't need to feel too stressed about timing or anything. We've got the whole month to go through 7 prompts. And my main rule is that they must all be before 2010. They cannot have been published after the year 2010 because we need to bring attention to some older books. It's not just about the unpublished books and the shiny new books. It's about some of the stuff that's been around a little longer. So, I will see you all in my next video, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thanks.